Good morning, self-lovers. Welcome back to the Self-Love Show. I'm your co-host, Dawn Light. So excited to be here today with you. We have a really special guest to announce. But before I do that, I want to just remind those that are our current viewers, thank you so much for tuning in weekly. We appreciate you. We love you. We feel your support. And for those that are new, just in case you don't know, we are on all the platforms. So this is where you get to go and explore all the gems and the nuggets of the 3 years worth of content we have. And we're excited to keep giving you content. And we just ask for your support there. Like, share, subscribe. It really helps the message of self-love to be broadcast far and wide. And who doesn't need more self-love in their life, right? Every day is an opportunity to love ourselves more and grow more in self-love. So today's guest is, I've been following her for a while and so grateful to meet her and be with her. She's wonderful work in the world. So today's message is really powerful. And this is speaking loudly to those that have experienced this. So, right, I'm going to read a little bit about today's show. So Jane Ysadora is our guest today, and so grateful to introduce you. And have you ever experienced burnout, under-earning, overworking, fear of sales, undercharging, repetitive stress, or repeat scarcity patterns in your business? The amount of profit you take in is often directly correlated to your nervous system's flexibility and resilience. In this workshop, you'll learn how to identify nervous system dysregulation in your business and how to use your nervous system to increase profit in your business. Jane Ysadora is trauma-informed business coach and pioneer of the growing field of trauma-informed manifesting. She helps coaches, therapists, and impact-oriented humans heal hidden emotional trauma, increase profit in their business, and heal their relationship with money. So welcome, Jane. We're excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So I read this book many years ago. Maybe you have too, but it was Sacred Commerce by Matthew and something Terces. And it was basically that business is a pathway to awakening. And boy, has this been so true. Like, it has touched every core of my being and every aspect of every insecurity, all of my attachment stuff, literally everything. And I'm super curious about how you feel about business in general and the relationship to business.
Yeah, I've had clients that weren't running or starting businesses, and that were with me, doing the like deep healing work, like deep stuff, and then they decided to start a business, and so it's like, okay, now here's the real healing work. Like, here's not that their healing work wasn't real, but it's like such a next level. I always say, you want to really do your healing work, grow a business, commit to stick with a business.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the things that have come up for me in business, and maybe you can speak to a little bit of common things that come up for people in your life. Maybe Don will share as well about stuff. But it really has touched, I mean, the obvious ones around money stuff and my relationship to money, my relationship to energy exchange, my relationship to my work, imposter syndrome, the intimacy, like there's an aspect of intimacy around knowing myself and my own triggers, the aspect around like there's this place between really wanting, like I know that I have this good work and I know that I'm confident and competent and I have like my mindset here and it's focused and it's positive, and then having the opposite experience happen and having like just being with the epic disappointment. Like there's a, like it is literally, there's grief involved in owning your own business. There is stress. There is which platform to use for what, and then there's research, and oh man, it is a whole thing. It is literally like
And then some.
it is a whole thing and then some. Yes. How about you, Dawn?
I mean, you just spoke my inner truth. What you just said was exactly spot on for me too. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm navigating it, you know, those areas as well. Just like the when you feel you're on point and you feel like you're listening and you feel like you've done everything and you've poured yourself into it, and then to be met with just like the opposite of what you're going for is just it's devastating. It's devastating. It makes you want to just burn the whole thing down and be like, F it. Why am I doing this? You know, if you can't be met with like some form of like, you know, something coming back my way to just give me a little droplet of like nugget of like, keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a really, really common experience, especially with coaches. And I'm like hard biased towards coaches. Like I just am. I love the coaching world. I think that it is just this beautiful place of people like trying to like give their heart centered, like hard earned, like coaches are people who have like scrabbled for their own lessons, their own growth, their own development. And they're like, let me use my life to like help other people make this powerful transformation in their lives and make a bunch of money doing it, hopefully, like with the right skills, with the right sales skills, with the right, all those things, right? Um, and it's a super, super, super common thing that I see that it's, and have experienced for sure. Like I've experienced those hard moments as well. I think not as much as some business trajectories, just because like the nervous system work has been so crucial to navigating that. But definitely some, deep, dark nights of the soul. I would say if you don't want to quit your business, at least once every few months, you're probably not, like at your growth edge.
Well,
You're
that's good to
not
hear.
experimenting enough. But that it does bring everything up because you're going for this remarkable thing, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and like my like coaches that I coach will be like, it's so hard. I'm like, yeah, yes, you're doing a hard thing, but you're doing a hard thing that has the potential to be more rewarding than almost anything else that you can do. Like you can make more than a surgeon in less time that it takes to get a doctorate and have the ability to craft your own hours, to set your own rates, to have your business be however you want it while experiencing the deep satisfaction of helping other people change their lives on a profound level. So it's like the challenges are many, the rewards are great whenever we're going for something that is like that big up level, right? It's probably more than our lineage has done. We're probably, most of us are really going against our family of origins belief system, how they experience the world, like what a life should look like. Like most people's parents wished for them to like have like a good paying job, have a family, settle down, right? Like live that safe life. And it's really the opposite of it. So we're going for something deeply fulfilling while doing things that send remarkable danger signals to our nervous system, like remarkable danger signals, and your nervous system only wants you to be safe. That's the only thing it wants. It like does not want your soul fulfillment. It's like, I want to keep you alive. So
Thanks.
like all is like so much emotionally, so much somatically, so much nervous system wise, so much parts wise, while going for this epic thing. Like, yeah, it's gonna be kind of a tornado in many moments.
Yes. Yes to what you're saying.
I love that you shared that your nervous system doesn't care about your life's purpose. It's
Doesn't
like,
it? It's not like, let me give my spiritual mission, let me do my soul. It's like, no, like, let me keep your body alive.
yeah. And putting your neck on the line to say, "Hey, I have these things that I want to share with the world." And it's a commitment to, well, let me finish the thought. That thought is like putting your neck on the line is actually a big deal. Like it is deeply unsafe to literally just jump in and say, this is what who I am
Stand
as a,
for.
my nervous system is like, oh, whoa, all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
then there's the place of really, you know, we're taught to kind of like hang on to branches, which can also burn out our nervous system. So the choosing to really focus and solely think about this one project is actually a really bold, courageous move. And and I wish, like, if I had one wish for the world, I have many, but if there's this one today, that if we could just not see these things as failure when something doesn't go quite right, or when it doesn't have the
Mm-hmm.
impact that we want, or that we want to see to validate the work that we're doing. Like, I wish for that in the world, that we can just change the belief system around productivity being our value.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and at the same time, like, I 100% agree with that. And at the same time, I was thinking this morning about like just the title of your show, like of a self-love show. And I'm like, well, what is there another way to love yourself other than becoming who you're meant to be?
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's the ultimate expression of self-love is like
Mm-hmm.
living your purpose, giving your best gifts, and all the things that we do that we might typically think of self-love, the like caring for our parts, caring for emotions, befriending ourselves, being kind to ourselves, giving ourselves time off, like beautiful, like amazing, amazing things to do. And like their best expression is to support that, like becoming who we are. So like I love that idea of disconnecting it from productivity. And I think that's extremely important. Um, and I would want to experience that as like instead of productivity, self actualization, right? Which is going to include some really powerful moments of productivity, like of doing and training our nervous systems to be able to do consistently without getting burnt out is really integral for a successful business. And that does, like, a lot of that is like rest, right? Like, such a crucial component. Um, so I feel like that thought kind of like trailed off. That's just like what that really sparked in me is like, yes, but like redefining productivity. That got
Mm-hmm.
too there.
I Go ahead.
Early on in this show, we came up with a show called Redefining Success. And redefining success was really focused on stepping outside of the capitalist patriarchal system. And like, well, what is success outside of that? What is success from the inside out? What does that look like? What is success just productivity and becoming a robot? And what does one person lose? And oftentimes what I found is that when we focus solely on using the systems in place, which there are great systems in place, and then there are some that are more socially acceptable systems in place that have a tendency to we lose our integrity, or the place where our thoughts, our feelings, our spirit, and our actions are misaligned, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've seen it happen, and I work with men primarily who have this experience, is where they like, I did all the things and now I'm still unhappy. I got the white picket fence, I got the great job, I did the education, and I'm still sitting here in my 40s and I'm like, I'm unhappy and I don't know who I am. And that's the challenge of productivity. Productivity means that you have to be someone to do something in this sense instead of what is redefining success. How about you, Don? How do you feel about?
Well, I love what you just said, Trish. It's it's beyond productivity. Sometimes people are trying to prove their worth to themselves, and that also leads to burnout. And I can see that old story in me. I don't do that anymore, and but I did do it for a long time, and it did create burnout in a whole other structure and a whole other, not in my coaching field, but in a profession before my coaching. And before graduate school, I was really burned out because I just pushed. And that pushing was so against my natural rhythm. And I had to kind of learn to let that go. And I work now in spurts. And it's interesting because I've learned over the years that I'm a projector in human design, and I'm supposed to go off of invitation. So I'm literally, my strategy is to wait for the invitation and then discern if it's the right invitation for me. So how do I implement that into business is interesting, right? So I'm just learning deeply how to integrate that into my world, and really detach my whole concept of what I believe is success is not outer. So never placing my value on anything external, like the money coming in or the not money coming in, or the client, whatever, however many clients I have, or no clients, you know what I mean? Or the, to be the detaching my relationship to my business, that it's never about my value. And that's really like, I think the deepest journey I've been on in the last 3 years of, because I've had very successful moments and like streams of clients come through, but I'm really deeply working against breaking this, like, it feels like feast or famine cycle that's been in my intergenerationally passed on, and I can see myself breaking past those bounds, because it's like I want consistency, but I want to do it on my energetic level. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like I'm working at the pace that works good for me, and there's flow and connection and rest and family time and prosperity in business and success for like wins in my clients' lives. Like that matters to me.
Yeah, yeah. And have you found in, like kind of like that decoupling that you're talking about, like differentiating your value from your business's profit metrics? Have you found that that's made it easier to show up in your business?
Yes, and it's still, there's still humps around, like I'm still working through the kinks of like how to expand and grow, Like that's still active for me. I think that I made a really poor business planning strategy. I tried to do a launch around Burning Man, which was a terrible idea. Terrible idea. And I was so dysregulated after Burning Man that I just was like, I can't do this. And so canceled. I canceled after the first day of showing up, and then I had like one person showing up supporting, and it just showed me how the energy was flat, and like, why am I there pushing? So I just leaned in and said, I don't need to do this to myself. It's okay. I can back off from this. And then I just spent the week cleaning and taking care of my life, and like I went and like had a day of rest for myself yesterday. And it's like, and then the invitations of things I need keep coming in, right? And that's exactly my authentic strategy for my human design. And I was like, see, it matters. It makes so much sense. And then I like took an extra long nap, and I got like a download of something I needed to do. And so it's just like, see, it's like it's the opposite of what you think, right? You think you should just hit the books and like get to it and create more and do more and push more, but it's actually the opposite for me. I need to actually take time off. And yeah, so that was really helpful, that I knew that about myself and that gave myself that.
Yeah, it's so important to be able to differentiate those cycles of like, I think there's times where in most people's businesses where like there's a higher effort seasons, definitely in my business, definitely in my client's business, where there's a certain amount of like, okay, I'm gonna get this done, I'm gonna get this launched, I'm gonna get this off the ground, and knowing when you need which, right? When you need like a little bit of a higher effort moment and when you need like a rest moment. And I have that same experience of those rest moments where you can just like lean back. Like that's where I get my best stuff. And if my business was all push all the time, not only would I be burnt out, not only would I be under earning, but I also wouldn't be having those like beautiful creative moments where I like know what to offer next.
Mm, beautiful.
The cycles are just so important.
Tell us more about like the nervous system and your take on the nervous system in business, because I know your whole business is around nervous system, which I love so much, by the way. Your content you put out and everything you share is so beautiful, and thank you so much for the work you do in the world, because I can see it helps people.
Thank you so much. Your nervous system is just wildly important for everything. And it's foundational to my business, not all of it. Like, I also have the best way not to have burnout, and this is actually proven by science, is to make enough money. Like when we under earn, we burn out more. And that actually really ties into the nervous system. So what I was going to say is like a huge part of my business is helping coaches get more clients and make more money through like sales skills, right? But being able to do that in a really nervous system friendly way is so, so, so important, because when we are in those patterns of scarcity, when we're in, like that too much effort or too much rest, like there can be the opposite of like not enough effort, um, then really sends those like primal cues of, am I going to be okay? Am I going to have enough? And when we move from a dysregulated nervous system, we get dysregulated results. And so the nervous system, it's very, very simple at its core, but so powerful to understand its impact on your sales, on your business. Like if you're showing up to sell from your fight or flight, sympathetic, like, oh my God, am I gonna have enough? Can I pay my rent or whatever? Sorry, I forgot to turn my phone off here. Like, can I pay my rent? Then you're gonna probably get less good results. Um, Not no results necessarily. Like if you know how to sell, if you know how to reach your audience in that way, your nervous system can truly be in whatever state and you can still get some kind of result. Um, but you're going to get a way better result if you're able to identify, like, okay, like I'm experiencing fight or flight, like I'm experiencing this anxiety. Like, how can I add in cues of safety to my nervous system so that I can go through the sales cycle tapped into enoughness, tapped into okayness, um, and access that higher functioning ventral vagal. That's our system of safety and connection. Like you're able to access that state, which is also the state where we make the best decisions, which is also the state where we have the most energy, and go through a sales cycle that way, or a marketing cycle that way, or a podcast, or like whatever you're doing in your business. Like knowing what's there and being able to like move up that nervous system ladder, you're gonna feel way, 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 way better. Because there's always,
Mm.
in anyone's business, there's going to be waves of like things are going terrifically. What's going on right now? What do I need to fix? Okay, things are going terrifically. Like that's just the cycle. That's just business, right? But you'll be a lot happier if you can navigate those cycles without your nervous system, bouncing all over the place at the same time.
Not only will you be regulated, you'll be able to serve better,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like
more
regulated
grounded.
nervous system, regulated profits, regulated coaching, regulated, all of those things. So,
Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
and I also feel like when my nervous system is regulated, I am saying no to a lot of things. Like things that even are like sound good. I'm like, let me think about that. I'm not pushing for it. I'm actually just like, I don't have the time or capacity to take on this other project or whatever it could be. Like for example, I got into UC Berkeley recently.
congratulations.
I'm also not coaching right now. Because that is not like I moved, I am getting into school, starting school, finding my new system, like whatever, like I moved to a new area, I'm finding the, like just the rhythm things. What's my grocery store, my coffee shop, the thing, what do I do? What's my rhythm in the house? How do the whatever, like all the things. That's already dysregulating. And then starting to melt my brain in classwork that I know that I can't show up. But that means I also have another sort of side job that I'm doing. Like I have a couple side jobs that I'm doing to keep the finances going. Or I have a couple of things where I coach couples and I'll fly and be with them for like a weekend, which happens to work with my schedule now. Um, but I know that I can't consistently show up for someone, so I'm like, hey, I would love to show up for you. I'm not taking new clients right now. And from a traditional business sense, a trad business sense, people are like, and I'm like, I can't show up in a fully regulated nervous system to give the most amazing coaching that I can.
Mm.
Why would I do that? Because I need to feel like I'm like, oh, I get to coach Jane today. Yes. Or like, hey, I get to, instead of being like, oh, Jane,
Yeah.
you know, you're gonna feel it. Like everyone's gonna feel it.
Mm. So true.
Yeah. Trish, I also just moved. I just fulfilled my lifelong dream of living next to the ocean. So I'm
Yay.
here. I know it's a big deal. So I'm here in North County, San Diego, and it's been like a dramatic education in familiarity in the nervous system. I've been doing nervous system work for a long time, but just noticing like somatically what happens in my system, like walking around a Target that I like the stuff should be in one place according to my nervous system, like the Target I've been going to forever. And it's like things are in a totally different place. And, I am in a growth season in my business at the same time. So, it's really been about like not backing off of my business, but of, just like titrating the amount of unfamiliarity, right? Like going and doing the fun things that I've been doing in San Diego forever when we would visit here, or doing like touristy things to have like fun unfamiliarity and ordering groceries, right? Like, not putting myself in too many of those scenarios where my nervous system's just like, oh my God, this is the grocery store, but I don't know where anything is kind of a deal, and just like really taking it slowly in my personal life. And like a lot of beach reading, a lot of just like more time off than normal, so that I like nervous system regulation is the term. I prefer nervous system nourishment. Like it just feels a little less controlling to me. Like it's not really about like you must do this nervous system. It's
Yeah.
like, what do I need to be able to function in my ventral vagal state, right? In my connected, in my prefrontal cortex is on. Like I'm confident to move forward in my business. I can keep pace. Like, what do I need for that? And there's just like a lot more downtime in my personal world and a lot more just like slow exploration. So like I really love that you're just like, okay, like I don't want to show up in my coaching right now. So let me make sure I'm taken care of financially, which is so regulating to the nervous system, so nourishing to the nervous system. And you're still showing up in your business. Like you're here, right? So that's
Well,
kind of
there's a
amazing.
difference between like wanting to show up. I want to show up, but
Mhm.
I know that to the degree to which I hold a standard of my coaching,
Yeah.
and that's where I've been really like I sleep a lot right now because there's so much shift, and I've learned this about myself. Like I know that I'm a little dysregulated when the so I'm a certified sex and relationship coach. I paid $10,000 for a 750-hour program that took me 2.5 years. Like I learned clinical sex coaching.
Yeah.
That I get massive amounts of emails of like, "Hey, beautiful," or "Hey, gorgeous," or
Right.
like people hitting on me or offering me wild things. Like this just really recently happened. I'll just share this really funny moment so that our people can, like it's a real thing. It's a practice. Nervous system nourishment is a practice and you have to think about it. So I know that I'm dysregulated and I don't have a lot of capacity for a lot of people's stuff other than my own. When this guy says, "Hey, gorgeous," and I'm like, I had already like, and I said something to him, about, I was like, hey, it's a really interesting thing to just like come out about my beauty. I didn't get a choice about what this whole body thing looks like. I just, there's a lot of things that I got going on. Like, I'm glad that you saw that that's the first thing that you saw, but what else? What else you got there if you're trying to engage with me? And he goes, okay, well, hey, ugly. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, and then I launched into a diatribe about qualifications and like being a decent human being. And I was like, and then I sat there for a moment, and he was like, well, maybe if you just take sex coaching off your profile, then people, won't like do this with you. And I was like, are you suggesting that
Oh, wow.
I paid for it off and because men can't Google? And then I sat back and I could feel myself so dysregulated. And I stopped and I said, I'm really like, sometimes I'll be like, gosh darn it, Trisha. And then I'll be like, wait, you are just having a reaction. It's all good. Don't worry about it. Like, you get to come back into integrity with this being. And are you hungry? Have you drank enough water? Have you slept okay? Babe, what's going on? And I was like, I'm really hungry and I need to like chill out. So I was like, hey, I came off a little strong. You're just trying to do your best. And I understand that you don't quite understand what sex coaching is and that there's this idea that you have. Thanks for thinking I'm pretty. Cool. Here's some information. And I expect respect moving forward. And then I pause. Now I will block him if he doesn't respect me. And then I went and ate. And then I was like, I'm now a polite human being again. So speaking of nervous system regulation, now any other day, I would have been like, oh, you know what? Whatever. Like, you are one of 20 people this week who have opened with that. Okay, whatever, dude, and just ignored it. But today, because like I'd been struggling with like how to organize this new bedroom, and like I'm learning a program called R, which is a coding program for statistics. My brain doesn't work like that. There is no nervous system regulation in that. So I already knew that. And that's why I've chosen to just be like, you know what? I'm not going to be able to show up in the biggest compassion and empathy that I can for my clients. I'm here for myself and I'm here for my closest friends. That's where I got right now. And when I do have capacity, which is, I feel like it's coming, I'm finding my rhythm, that I'll open my practice again. Wow, that was a long diatribe. I'm so sorry.
No, it's awesome. That's awesome. And like I would see your nervous system doing a really good job in that interaction, because it's your threat detection machine. And somebody approached you with disrespect, with objectification, right? Like, they weren't truly a threat because you're there in control of your world, right? And they're far away, they're on the internet. But it makes a ton of sense that your nervous system instantly was like, back off, buddy. Like, that's an appropriate response. Like, and appropriate to the situation as well. Like, sometimes people need to be told to back off. Like, that's boundaries, right? But your ability to have that, what we would call interoception, like the knowing what's going on inside you, and to not solely respond from the like protective place, and then bring on that like higher thinking part of you to be like, okay, like I maybe am experiencing this as more of a threat than it actually is. Like maybe my response like doesn't need to be this intense for the situation. Let me be the higher functioning person out of the two of us. Like, bless you, have a good day, kind of a thing. Like, that's like really beautiful navigation.
Thanks. I just thought it was really funny because, again, these things come up all the time.
Yeah.
But if you already know that I mean, it's a setup for success. This is what I think about. Dawn and I talk about this all the time. It's like, how can we set ourselves up for success? If I am exhausted, there is no way that I have capacity.
Right.
How much capacity do I have on a scale from 1 to 10? And Scott Thomas taught me that a long time ago when you're talking with your really like some your lover or relationship and you might have some challenges. It's like, how does that work? How much capacity do you have right now on a scale from 1 to 10? I don't know. I'm at a 10 or I'm at a 1 or I'm at a
Yeah.
3, you know. How about you, Don?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I was just
Go,
affirming.
go ahead, Jane.
Oh, I didn't really have much to go ahead with. I just wanted to like really affirm. I mean, it does really, that same thing really does tie into business too. Is like if you're consistently functioning below your capacity, then you're not going to get very good results. Um, and making like it's like you need the nervous system stuff and you need really good strategy and you need really good sales skills. And, it's being an amazing practitioner does not translate to being amazing at sales. Like they're two totally different skills. The whole coaching world would be billionaires if they were the same skills because there's just so many incredibly talented practitioners, gifted coaches, like, so many coaches that is like, if their audience just could be magically filled or their containers could just be magically filled, no worries, because they would just generate referrals forever, right? Like, and that's such a common wish of like, gosh, if the clients could just like, can somebody just give me clients? Um, but like you need both of those, right? Like you need the sales skills and the nervous system skills. And that's like such a tangent that I just went on. Like, what was my initial thought of that? ADHD business owner. Thank you. Awesome. Yeah, I like try to like let me control my ADHD tangents here about business and the nervous system. But if you're consistently functioning below capacity, then you're going to not get great results. Oh, and that was the thing is like the nervous system is important and the strategy, right? Like it's not like I don't ever want to give the impression that it's just nervous system or it's just rest or whatever. So you could end up with like a great nervous system, but broke, and then you're not going to have a great nervous system because you're broke. So like you really need the strategy piece as well. But when you have them both together, then you can have like a happy, nourished nervous system and a happy, nourished business and the ability to identify your capacity and make business plans accordingly is like so, 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 so important and just something that you demonstrated so beautifully, Trish.
Hmm. Would you like to share the thing that you came here to share with our listeners?
Sure. So I thought I really just would share a little bit of a deeper dive into the nervous system and how you can know where your nervous system is, and how to shift your state very consciously. So, and this is the like very quick version of it. There's more to it, but this will give you a nice start. And just being able to check in with yourself, which we'll talk about, like how to do that, how to set those timers. Um, so your nervous system has three primary states and some blended states. So at the very bottom of the nervous system, and your states move up and down like a ladder, right? At the very bottom is your dorsal vagal state. That is your shut down. That is like numb. That is like, I'm so tired. I need to just go watch Netflix in bed. I'm depressed. Like, this is so disappointing. I can't show up in my business. I can't show up on social media. Like, that is your dorsal vagal state. Moving up the ladder, you have your sympathetic, your fight or flight state, your action state. And sympathetic is like, I am stressed and anxious, and let me like manic manifest, and let me say yes to everything, and let me be working all the time. Like I'm worried about money, like it's that like worry, anxious state, right? And then at the very top of that ladder, you have your ventral vagal state. So your ventral vagal state is your state of safety and connection and well-being, and like I am tapped in, I'm capable, I am confident, I can do it, and you're able to meet challenges with positive spirit, positive energy, positive emotions, and just really like take it on, right? Then we have some blended states. I'm not going to go through all the blended states, but I am going to go through the adaptive blended states, the blended states that work in your favor versus the protective blended states that will primarily keep you stuck. But when ventral and sympathetic are blended, when ventral and sympathetic are holding hands, then you're able to get things done and feel good doing it, right? That's like positive action. Ventral and sympathetic can also be play. It's like I'm moving, I'm doing it, but I'm safe while I'm doing it. Ventral and dorsal is like I'm safe to rest. I am safe to take a step back. I'm safe to take the day off. I'm safe to take a few weeks off. I'm safe to meet my own needs, and I can chill, I can meditate, like I can, do that. So like safe rest is that ventral dorsal combination. Now your nervous system is going to move through all of these states on any given day. Like the goal isn't to keep your nervous system in ventral all the time. It's going to be an unhappy goal because you can't. The goal is to know where your nervous system is and know how to move in between the states. So you can map this out. Like you can be like, what does dorsal look like for me? How do I feel when I'm in that dorsal shutdown? And what helps me bring ventral on board to feel safe to experience that state? And then what helps me to like gently move up that ladder into positive action? Because you don't go like dorsal ventral, you go dorsal sympathetic ventral, right? And sometimes what you need in dorsal to move up the ladder is rest. It's like sometimes you just have to rest it out, recover. And then like what helps you when you're in sympathetic? Like when you're stressed, right? What helps give your system a signal of safety? Like what does sympathetic look like for you? What helps you feel safe in that stress? And maybe it's like moving it out of your body. Maybe it's the like one song dance party. Maybe it's a nap, a meditation, like maybe it's going for a run. Maybe it is tapping. Maybe it's affirmations, right? It's going to be different for everybody. But what helps you bring in cues of safety when you're in that stress point? And then you can also be like, what is ventral like for me? For me, it's very like expansive, connected, but maybe you would use totally different words to describe your ventral vagal experience. And then you can map out like what little things in the day help you stay in ventral or push you out of ventral. Maybe there's things in your environment. Like for me, a messy kitchen, that's going to send me out of ventral. But like having my scented candles that I love, or meditation music or whatever, or just having an organized space, those help me stay in ventral with minimal effort. So like looking at like what little things can I add to my life? Can I add to my business? Can I add to my environment to send signals of safety and help me stay in that safe, connected nervous system state? Not forever again, but like you want more often, like most of your time. In a healthy, nourished nervous system, most of your time is going to be in that safe, connected state. Co-regulation is huge. It's a huge thing for your nervous system. So having positive community around you, having people that you can be around, having people you can rely on, like looking at like, how can I add nervous system safety through my community? And just noticing your nervous system. So I tell all my clients when they're new to start tracking that. Set a timer 3 times a day. And when that timer goes off, just like, what state is my nervous system in? Am I in dorsal? Am I in sympathetic? Am I in ventral? Am I in some combination of the two? And then just ask yourself, like, what do you need for a more nourished or a more regulated nervous system? If you're in a sales cycle, then really focusing on nervous system nourishment, nervous system regulation can really help you be able to like show up fully When you're coaching, like knowing where your nervous system is and knowing how to like quickly bring the ventral on board, so that you can show up to the coaching session resourced, excited, like ready to do your very best for that client, is such a game changer. But that is the exercise I would give you, is just map your nervous system states. Make a quick list of like things that knock you down the ladder, things that move you up the ladder, and set your timer. And when it goes off, just be like, what's my nervous system doing? What state am I in? Give it your best guess. You'll learn, like you'll get really fluent in it over time. And then like, what do I need in this moment? Like what would be more nourishing for me in this moment? So that is my tool.
I love that you, is my on mute? I love that you say what would be most nourishing for me. That's such a beautiful question to ask yourself, to get back into like climb the ladder if you're dysregulated. That's just wonderful to lead with nourishment in that way. It's so simple. You made it really simple. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And you know, like I love that question too, because maybe sometimes what's nourishing is more activity, like either a workout or marketing, right? Or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe sometimes it's a nap, and just being able to let either of those be okay.
Mm-hmm. Gorgeous.
It's so important, right? Is to listen, you know? Jay and I also have ADHD. And how I got there was I've lived a kind of a crazy, wild life that has left me with a lot of anxiety. So my brain and my body are often in fight or flight for no reason.
Yeah.
Like rationally, I'm like, and I've done the breath work, I've done the meditation, I've done all the things. And that was one of the bits around how do I care for myself when I'm irrationally fearful about Armageddon, which is every day.
Yeah.
I spilled my tea, or who knows what it could be. It'd just be like the littlest things. And to really pay attention to your body's wisdom is, I love that you're adding timers throughout the day, because that is one of the most difficult places, is to actually slow down enough to get a somatic map or layout of what is happening. When I'm feeling nervous or when I'm feeling tired or whatever it could be, what is the sensation and emotion happening in my body, and to actually stop and to think about it, and then to act on that towards nervous system nourishment is a practice. That's the practice. I'm curious how often, like, how long do you think it takes to get into the habit?
Um, Depends on your commitment to setting those timers. Right? Like, cause instantly, right? Like you could set timers on your, not you personally, but like one could set timers on their phone immediately. And when they go off, do it. Right. And there's instant habit. Um, and like, you know, like habits are hard when they're not productive or they're not fun or they're not, like when it's a drag, it's hard, right? But like somebody phrased this one time, like, you know, nobody takes 40 days to develop a heroin habit. Like instant there, right? Like it doesn't, you don't need to practice at that. And when our brains are getting reward signals, like habits are really easy. So, you know, I think like tracking your nervous system or knowing your nervous system, well, not totally effortless. Like if you are following it up with like, what do I need? And you're able to give yourself that, like that's chemical rewards going off in your brain, right? So it might be hard to talk you out of doing that like after a small experience of like, oh, I really like meeting my needs actually, so let me not do that. Like if that like sense didn't make sense. But like I love, tracking my needs. So it might be hard to convince you not to at that point.
Love this. And I love that you're committed to nervous system nourishment as a form of self-love through business. Mwah! I'm curious. Can you tell everyone about where to find you and what that all looks like? Go ahead,
Yeah.
Dawn.
So primarily I'm on Instagram. It's just my first name _ last name. So it's Jane _ Ysadora with a Y. I know I have a weirdly spelled last name. Primarily I'm on Instagram. I have a free masterclass coming up called How to Sell Coaching. Without having to like live on Instagram or feel like you're shouting at people all the time or you're in that like hustle forever. So you can have those. The primary component of a nervous system friendly business is a business that supports you, right? It's a profitable business, it's a well-earning business. And selling can be really challenging because it is a whole other skill set. And one that I, have like 20 plus years of professional training in. So it's, it's something that I love offering coaches because I want all the coaches, I want all of us to be really well paid, and I want all of us to really give our gifts and help the people we're meant to help. So you can sign up for that at janeisadora.com/how-to-sell, which I know I didn't even give you guys that link. I'm so sorry. But I also have a free guide. You can get the free guide to learning to manifest more money using your nervous system. How to use your nervous system to manifest more money at janeisadora.com/free guide.
Sorry, I'm doing stuff in the background.
I'm like, y'all are pulling up these links that I didn't properly give you.
No, I'm giving them.
You did. I'm just putting them in the private chat for you, Trish.
It's
there
okay.
You go.
I found them elsewhere.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Jane. This is such a sweet moment of really like thoughtful business ownership.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I really resonate with everything you've said today. It's like, it's relaxing just hearing you speak about it. And so honestly, openly and genuinely like, oh yes, that's absolutely the journey.
Yeah. Thank you both so much. Like, it's been such a really beautiful opportunity, and you guys clearly show up with your like whole hearts, like just bright rays of sunshine. And I guess that's appropriate for your name, Dawn.
Thank you.
I must have had that in my subconscious, but such a beautiful conversation, and thank you both so much for sharing your wisdom and experience.
Yeah. We really get joy out of doing this show together. It's been such a journey of us growing together and nourishing each other along the way. And we're really good at nourishing each other and being there for one another through life and life's journey. So we get the nourishment regulation piece. We have lots of conversations about it. So it's been a joy to have you on the show and share openly and honestly about business and how important it is to regulate your nervous system nervous system nourishment. I love that word. I'm going to totally use that in my life now. Yeah,
let's make it a thing. I think that's probably the first time I've said nervous system nourishment like publicly. So now it can just be a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's going to be my thing for sure. Yeah. So thank you for inspiring me and just growing such a beautiful business and in supporting so many people out there. It's so beautiful to see. And I love all your emails. I read them. I'm like all the time. Like I just appreciate you.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to hear. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
We have all these like little signs that we do. For people who are listening on the podcast, what just happened is that I had a facial expression that signals to Dawn something that we've agreed upon. There's also other ones you should probably know. Maybe you don't know. Is like there's things around timing. Like there's like a timing, like this one would be like a timing bit, like, oh, there we're getting close to time. Or maybe like a swipe of the eyebrow is like we're getting close to time, or hey, does our guest want to share their tool? And then there's this one that I just did was like, hey, do you want to share something online? And so what happens is like it can come off really awkward in the sound or even on video, but that's our nonverbal approach to
Running
instead
the show.
I'm gonna have to rewatch and be like, did I miss any eyebrows?
of no, you didn't. It's all good. Um, there's other ones, but we've been doing it for 3 years, so
I don't think we do the eyebrow swipe though, honestly. Like, when's the last time we have?
It seems to be flowing so easily. Like the show has now been, it runs in such a certain way, and it honestly is in the flow of conversation right around 30-40 minutes. That's the time when people really want to like go into launching about what their program, because we've already talked about how it shows up for individuals or how it shows up in businesses, and people have now really got a foundation of what that might look like. So it's just like timing wise, it's kind of perfect.
So tell it before we go, Jane, tell us one more time, what dates are your thing you're offering? Because you mentioned
that's
what
a
are
really
what
good
are the dates?
So it is Sunday, October 1st is the master class.
Nice.
There's going to be coaching, there's going to be Q&A, and we are really like, I am deeply passionate about coaches selling. Like it's just so important. And there's so much like, honestly, like really terrible information out there about how to sell, and people aren't taught, or they're taught poorly by well-meaning people, right? That just don't have a whole lot of sales training. And so then there's just a lot of coaches that struggle with that aspect, and it can really make a business unfun if you don't know how to sell, and if you don't know like how to really ethically get clients in like a really authentic way, then it's not fun. But when you have really like legit sales skills, selling can really be beneficial to the client. Like it can be beneficial to the person across from you, whether they buy or not. It can be beneficial to you. It can be part of nervous system nourishment. It can be fun. It can be fulfilling. And that's the experience of selling that I really want coaches to have. And not that it's never effort, not that it's never like, not that there's never a moment, right? I'm not trying to like paint a utopia, but it can be good and significantly easier. And so that's what I really want to help people. So what I want to invite people to is like, you're already a good coach. Let's be good at selling it.
Yes.
So it's
yes.
and
fantastic.
It's Ysadora.com/how to sell, or you can go to my Instagram and the link is there.
Perfect. Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's exciting.
I'm excited.
I hope all our coaches listening tune into it, because that's such a gift. What a gift to give.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time and your energy today, Jane. I know that we know here that time is precious, and your offering is so precious. So thank you for sharing your beautiful, precious time with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for this beautiful conversation.
I'd like to give a big shout out to my co-host Dawn Light for always showing up and for really holding me the last few times. You've been really holding my spot while I have been out of the loop. And thank you for our amazing assistants, Roy and Russell, for making this really happen every week, and for showing up, for really being, the backbone, the place that holds us so that we can show up. Big thank you to Love Coach Academy, Scott Katamas, Global Peace Tribe, for now. And thank you so much to you all for showing up and being committed to your self-love and your growth. And we'll see you here, same time, same place next week. Bye, all.